We're the Straw Hat Pirates, and the Gren Line is calling. We will find the One Piece.
We just received the final trailer for One Piece Season 2, and it is absolutely packed with Easter eggs and jaw-dropping cameos. With every episode dropping on March 10th, just days away, you already know I'll be dissecting each one with surgical precision. The trailer explodes into action, with Zoro swaggering into a saloon as Mr. Nine's cocky voice echoes through the room, boasting that they outnumber him 100 to 1. From previous trailers, we know Mr. Nine is orchestrating this mob of bounty hunters from the second floor, and even when the brawl spills outside, he remains perched on the balcony, bat in hand, like a king surveying his kingdom. We witnessed Zoro trading blows with Mr. Nine in that Baroque Works-focused trailer, and now we're getting what appears to be a live-action take on his home run hide-a-bat technique. A nasty move where a steel cord shoots out from the bat to lock down his opponent. As the bounty hunters gear up for the fight, eagle-eyed viewers will notice a bottle resting on the counter. That's Old Cactus Whiskey, a liquor brand that made its debut back in Season 1. Its name is, naturally, a wink at Whiskey Peak on Cactus Island, though the bottles we previously spotted were labeled as being bottled in Logtown. Interestingly, there is a distillery on Whiskey Peak in the live-action world, so could this season finally reveal the true origin of this brand? Fingers crossed. We then catch a glimpse of Luffy rallying the crew to set sail, and judging by his missing sleeve and the biting cold surrounding the ship, this moment is almost certainly pulled from the finale as they bid farewell to Drum Island. The trailer itself is beautifully scored to a rendition of Come Sail Away by Styx, and I've already gone deep on why this track is a thematically brilliant match for One Piece's ever-expanding universe. Check the official breakdown if you haven't already. Next, we see the Straw Hats celebrating their entry into the Grand Line alongside Igaram, portrayed by Yonda Thomas. But lurking in the background are some fascinating figures. Blink and you'll miss it, a woman dressed as a nun. Our clearest look yet at Miss Monday in disguise. She actually crept into the very first teaser trailer months ago, hiding in the background, and surfaced again in a promotional clip shortly after. In my breakdown of that earlier footage, I flagged a bald man in a brown tank top as a possible appearance of Hercules, a Baroque Works bounty hunter originating from the One Piece Fighting Path video game. Seeing him again here, with a better look at his white-bottomed tank top, I'm even more convinced I was right. We'll need to stay sharp and watch for any other obscure Baroque Works members potentially hiding in plain sight throughout this season. We then get an extended cut of the Straw Hats clashing with Buggy's crew in Logtown, a sequence we first glimpsed in the teaser, now showing Nami going toe-to-toe with Alvida. In the background, a cardboard face cutout depicting Gold Roger's execution looms over the chaos. Fitting, since this battle unfolds on Marine Victory Day, a live-action original holiday commemorating the anniversary of the Pirate King's death. Scattered around are familiar carnival attractions from earlier footage. A hook-a-duck booth, a cheeky nod to Karoo, and a cannonball throw game, referencing Garp's legendary Meteor Fist, the man who hurls cannonballs with his bare hands like it's nothing. But this trailer sneaks in a brand new attraction, a ring toss game called Hoopla, themed after the Gorgon. The Gorgon, of course, is the serpent-haired monster of Greek mythology, most famously Medusa. But this legend also breathes within the world of One Piece, where the Kuja tribe believed it to be the very curse placed upon the Boa sisters. The fight unfolds with the execution platform looming dramatically in the background. We're clearly just moments away from the iconic showdown between Luffy and Buggy. Ominous storm clouds and crackling lightning frame Usopp in one striking shot, setting the perfect stage for what comes next. And speaking of what comes next, behind Nami, in a blink-and-you'll-miss-it moment, stands a man with vivid green hair and an orange and brown jacket. That is none other than Bartolomeo. For those unfamiliar, this character was formally introduced much later during the Dressrosa arc as an obsessive, die-hard fan of the Straw Hat Pirates, a devotion born entirely from witnessing Luffy's legendary stand at Logtown. He went on to follow their every adventure through the news, eventually being inspired to carve his own path as a pirate. He's a masterclass in retroactive storytelling, a future character seamlessly woven into past events with perfect narrative hindsight. We've known for a while that he'd appear this season, with early speculation pointing to Name Hughes in the role. At this point in the timeline, Bartolomeo was the ruthless leader of a criminal outfit in the East Blue, and his outfit here faithfully reflects that era. I'm genuinely thrilled to see how much screen time he gets, and whether we'll even get a tantalizing glimpse of his devil fruit powers. In the scene, he appears to be clutching some kind of weapon, possibly a club, a fitting nod to the name of his future pirate crew, the Bardo Club. We then get a fresh shot of Mr. Five on Little Garden, dressed in his outfit from the Baroque Works cover story. And from there, we arrive at one of the most breathtaking moments in this entire section of the story. Chopper pulling the crew on Kaya's sled across the night sky. It's a genuinely stunning image, and honestly a bold choice to reveal in the trailer. But if you want to make people stop scrolling, you show them something extraordinary. A brief but deeply emotional clip follows. A band of pirates singing and playing music aboard a ship. These are the Rumbar Pirates, the legendary crew that entrusted Laboon to Crocus 50 years ago. We've been anticipating their appearance ever since set photos of their ship leaked over a year ago. None of the figures here are immediately recognizable from the source material, but we can absolutely expect to see Yorkie and Brooke when this flashback plays out in full. Fresh footage from Drum Island then arrives, giving us our best look yet at Mark Penwell as Chess and Anton David Jeffs as KM, better known as Kuromarimo in the manga. The creative decision to use lipstick to craft Chess's jagged, crooked smile is a stroke of genius, and his face paint elegantly echoes the checkered patterns woven throughout his costume. It's unclear from this angle whether his hood sports 2 bunny ears or the pointed style from the 6 years ago flashback, but either way, the look is striking. KM's costume is remarkably faithful to the source material, the standout distinction being his afro-like boxing gloves, which appear to either be gripped or strapped to the backs of his hands. Chess's arrows rip through Nami's hospital bed, as we get an extended version of the Sanji vs. KM confrontation from the previous trailer, also offering a far clearer view of Kureha's infamous torture chair, ripped straight from the manga. Scattered on the floor are cork-stoppered bottles, almost certainly Kureha's beloved umeshu, plum wine, her drink of choice. We then transition to Luffy and Sanji's encounter with Smoker in Log Town. The audio is cleverly spliced from 2 distinct scenes. Luffy's line likely belongs to this moment, while "the world government wants your head" feels more like something delivered to Dragon when he makes his pivotal intervention. Luffy, true to form, calls him Smokey, one of his signature nicknames for the Marine, just before Smoker's white fist technique sends 2 smoke-propelled punches hurtling toward him. The background of this scene is an absolute treasure chest of details. On the left, a cluster of broccoli-shaped topiary shrubs decorates a building, and as revealed in an interview with Julia Rewald, who plays Tashigi, this is actually a restaurant called the Kohi Trattoria, a loving tribute to a chef from Logtown's cooking competition in the anime. Across from it stands Savor's Platter, nodding to the food critic from the Shokugeki no Sanji spin-off manga. Nearby is Antique House, the shop where Nami famously went on a shopping spree in the source material. And across from there, the Polestar Gallery Boutique on Senroku Street, where a sea king known as Birdie can be spotted in the window. The walls are dotted with familiar bounty posters, Cavendish and Buggy from Season 1, along with Alvida, a wonderful tapestry of the world these characters inhabit. From there, we're treated to a stunning shot of Luffy perched atop a brontosaurus, followed by Sanji and Usopp inside Laboon. Earlier footage showed them working desperately to free the Going Merry from inside the whale, and the beam of light washing over them here likely signals Laboon opening his mouth once more. We also catch Luffy delivering a punch to Laboon from the red line, likely adapting the moment he strikes the whale's eye in the manga. Nami cries, "Brace for impact!" And from her outfit, we can tell this is during their ascent of Reverse Mountain, before the scene cuts to a massive explosion, the glorious aftermath of the Island Eater being cleaved apart, setting the Straw Hats free to sail onward. After glimpsing Dory and Broggy's Hakoku sovereignty technique from the previous trailer, we now get an extended clip of Broggy meeting Nami and Usopp, a scene first teased months ago. The costume department continues to do extraordinary work here. Broggy's helmet is an intricate, battle-worn masterpiece, dented and weathered by decades of relentless combat, with a delicate sun motif etched along its rim, a touching tribute to the spiritual traditions of the Elbaf giants. A close-up of Miss Valentine follows, also decked out in her Baroque Works cover story ensemble. Then comes a sequence we've seen fragments of before, an explosion rocking Drum Castle during Chopper's flashback. Though curiously, this time the shot has been horizontally flipped. Puzzling, but it does give us our sharpest look yet at the throne room. Dalton and Kuromarimo can be seen shielding Wapol on the throne, Kuromarimo's distinctive leopard print cape visible from the flashback era. A figure in dark green with what appears to be a weapon on his back stands in the foreground. while another in light green carries a cylindrical object, almost certainly chess, quiver in tow. This magnificent nighttime shot of Drum Castle is cut against still soaking wet and shirtless, suggesting this takes place shortly after he arrives at the castle and receives Chopper and Kaya's treatment. The timing makes me wonder whether this could actually be Heavy Point for the first time, rather than a reference to Wapol. It feels a bit too early for Wapol to have reached the castle at this stage. In the next scene, likely comes from the tense sequence involving Miss All Sunday's arrival aboard the ship following the chaos of Whiskey Peak. We then return to Dory and Bragi mid-duel, with the haunting skeletal remains of ancient sea kings scattered across the island in the background. A continuation of footage from before. Wapol's mouth begins to transform, slowly stretching, morphing, and expanding into a colossal hippo's maw. It is utterly spectacular. In anime and manga, characters casually unhinging their jaws to swallow things twice their size is just accepted visual language, a stylized gag that nobody questions. The live action could have played it exactly the same way, but instead, the creators found something far more inventive. Rather than Wapol's mouth simply growing, his metal jaw mechanically assembles itself, piece by piece, like a transformer mid-sequence or Tony Stark suiting up. It's completely deliriously absurd, and yet there's an internal logic to it, a mechanical grounding that keeps you tethered to reality even as the scene spirals into glorious madness. The massive tongue is the perfect grotesque finishing touch. I cannot wait to see this fully unleashed. In the back of the frame, you can spot Vivi prudently taking cover behind a table. Honestly, the only reasonable response to watching someone's jaw turn into industrial machinery. The trailer closes on a breathless note with a live-action adaptation of one of my favorite combo moves from the drum arc, the Armed Deair Gum-Shoot, or Air Assault depending on your translation. Luffy seizing Sanji's leg and being launched forward like a human missile by the sheer explosive force of his kick. Seeing this make it into the season genuinely put a huge grin on my face, but the details hidden in this final sequence? Equally thrilling. To the left, a sculpture of a finned, horned creature, the fighting fish, first encountered during the Dressrosa arc. Behind Sanji, a sheep with a flat bill jutting from its mouth, a nod to the platypus sheep from the Island of Rare Animals, an anime-exclusive creation. And beneath that, a strange, spotted creature in a glass case, the Kyo Danuki, another beast from that same island. Its name translates roughly to Giraffe Child Raccoon Dog, a humanoid giraffe-tanuki hybrid that is as wonderfully bizarre as it sounds. It actually appears in the original manga too, and resurfaces in Buggy's cover story when he stumbles upon that island. Its presence here is particularly fitting, given its striking parallels to Chopper, a humanoid child who is perpetually mistaken for a tanuki, and a reindeer whose distant ancestors happen to share a lineage with giraffes. Which brings us at last to our first glimpse of Chopper's Heavy Point. The blend of CGI and practical work isn't entirely clear yet, though we know Gavin Gomez was instrumental in bringing this form to life. Based on his height relative to Nami and Vivi in this scene, it looks like a predominantly practical, suit-based performance, as the Heavy Point would typically tower a bit taller. Still, from what little we can see, it looks genuinely impressive. And in the final seconds, as Sanji launches Luffy skyward, the camera briefly catches Drum Castle's flag mounted on the wall. A quiet but powerful reminder of just how high Luffy will soar when he protects that flag in the live-action version. Some fans may feel a pang of disappointment that this moment appears to unfold inside the castle rather than atop it under an open sky. But I have full faith that if the emotional core of the scene is preserved, the setting won't matter one bit. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you, truly. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.